Today is the 14th day of Kislev, and this day in 1928, our dear Rebbe and Rebbitzin became husband and wife. They got married. Mazel tov. A mere 1928, 95 years ago, they got married. And because of that marriage, that was the beginning of the Rebbe's connection to us, that he eventually became the seventh and final Rebbe. And as all sevens are endeared, so is endeared, and we are in the seventh generation as a result. So today is a very, very special and auspicious and awesome day. Union. Everything that we learn about is about creating a divine union above that creates a divine union down here. As the old saying goes, marriage isn't a good idea, it's a godly idea. Because through that, you have the opportunity to have eternity on simple level. Because the union of male and female, husband and wife, you beget a child. And that mimics the way things are on high. That when we do something down here called a mitzvah, we create a union above, male and female of the divine, yichud zun, the union between the Zah and Malchus, that brings new light and new life into this world, which is powerful. Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We begin today the sixth essay. And this essay is going to bring out something unique from the last two. The last two we spoke about the idea of the primordial shattering of the vessels, and the vessels that were too weak to contain the overflow of divine light, and it shattered the vessel, and we have sparks of holiness in the physical world, we have sparks of holiness in the spiritual world, and we are here to refine, to find those sparks, elevate those sparks through our engagement, through the study of Torah, for example, is what we explained previously. Now we're going to take things to a different level. And it's based on the Talmud's understanding and explanation about King David. So, King David was triumphant over the Philistines in bringing back the Ark of the Covenant that was in captivity. And what he did was, he momentarily forgot something that all school children know, that the Ark of the Covenant has to be carried on the shoulders of the Levites. And he forgot that in that moment, and he placed it on the wagon to return it. So our sages in the Talmud comment on this story, and they say, David, King David, you call the Torah songs. Explain what that means in a moment. And because of that, you were punished. You were punished to forget a simple law, that the ark has to be carried on the shoulders of the Levites and not on a wagon. So of course we need to understand, what does it mean that he refers to the Torah as songs? Why is that wrong? What's wrong with it? And why is the punishment that he should forget a simple law of that the Ark of the Covenant is carried on the shoulder? What's the relationship? Nothing is haphazard, right? Everything is precise. So there must be a precision here in the punishment that fits the crime. First of all, what's the crime? Right? What's the crime? That David, you call them songs, right? The Talmud says. Well, in the Zohar, we do find that expression, the praise of the Torah and its songs. In other words, it's a song to God. Well, that sounds okay. And what does it mean it's a song to God? So we need to understand, what is the praise to God that a particular object is forbidden or permitted? Well, we'll understand this based on the following. In Psalms from King David, that's where we're going to take our springboard, that he says there, how great are your works, O God? Your thoughts are very deep. So he proceeds here, God's works, right, that they're great, and from there you can come to his thoughts on how deep they are. So what does this mean? What does it mean that God's works are so great? That are ultimately based on, that will bring us to an understanding how deep are his very thoughts. So what is his thought? Meaning his divine wisdom. It's Torah, of course. Which means as follows. The world and the works of the world are totally dependent on the meticulous performance of a single mitzvah. So for example, when you bring an offering on the altar, which the offering that you're doing, the mitzvah that you're performing, creates a supernal union. As the male and female parts above, a union between Zo and Malchus, between the 6 emotions and Malchus. Malchus is the feminine part, 6 emotions are the male part. You create a union, which brings new life, spiritual sustenance, a new life force into this world. But if you did something wrong in the offering, so for example, if you receive the blood in a vessel in your left hand rather than your right hand, guess what? It's invalid. If the vessel was not a valid one, then likewise the offering is invalid. Or let's say you had some kind of separation, right? In receiving in the vessel, like you had something separating your hand from the vessel, also invalid. What does it mean it's invalid? It means you didn't create that union above and therefore bring new life. Nothing went up from what you did, and therefore nothing came down of new life into this world that sustains the world. Likewise with tefillin. With tefillin reveals Meichin El Yonim, supernal intellect, of the union of Zoh and Malchus, as we mentioned, and it brings life, sustenance into this world. But if you omit a detail of the mitzvah of tefillin, in other words, the tefillin's on between it's on your forehead down here, or it's over here on the side, or the parchment that's written is invalid or whatever. So it can be so many details. And one detail is missing, poof, the whole thing gone. Same is the detailed requirements for any prohibition. That's a commandment. Every single detail affects. Now, with this, we can ponder how great the works of God are. Right? God creating a multiplicity of worlds and things in the world, and it's all literally null and void relative to the specific requirement of the Torah. That brings out the profundity of God's thought. In other words, his thought, his wisdom that's in the Torah specifies exactly how that union is going to be created, and therefore specifies on how you bring light, energy, and life into this world. So that brings out the great profundity of God's vivifying force, that a minor requirement in that thought of God, in that wisdom of God, so minor it is, but yet so great it is in the life-giving force. And this is what King David took delight in. That he was gladdened in his heart that Torah study during the time of anguish. In other words, he contemplated on the entire world as of no account relative to a minor specific detail of the Torah. With that, we conclude today's class. We're in the middle of the thought, which we will conclude tomorrow. But wow, so be it that all of us should recognize in what we're learning right now, the specific details of any given law of Torah. And here it's the law about the love and awe of God that we fulfill when we study, and of knowing God, that we, but more specifically, learning, as we mentioned, the mitzvahs, and fulfilling the mitzvahs precisely the way it needs to be done, we bring above a union that brings new light and life into this world that this world is dependent on. So first of all, this is very powerful. And with this we can understand that when we do a mitzvah, right? When we do a mitzvah, that we're bringing life into this world. Life for us, but life beyond us. And the world is depending on it. So of course we have the questions like, what's wrong with that? I wish everybody would have that notion. But King David gets punished for that, as we will understand in tomorrow's class, not before that, of why he gets punished for that notion. What's wrong with it? But let's, not that it's wrong. We will see there's something more. But you know what this tells me? We're on a campaign, and I've mentioned it, and I'm going to mention it again. Here are some kidnapped individuals. Actually, yeah. Aviatar David, 22 years old. Hold on. Karina Ariev, 19 years old. Some of the women might be still released. Some might not. But a mitzvah that we do brings new light and new life, new hope. And that's the campaign we are, is to help those who've been kidnapped. That we do a mitzvah, that we take upon ourselves a mitzvah. And by taking upon ourselves a mitzvah, The whole world is pending on it. And so the hostage is. So this is something that we're now working on and want everybody to engage and to be involved. If you're interested to have your adopted hostage that you do a mitzvah for, well, do for yourself, do for the world, and do for the hostage in particular, of course, then reach out to me and you'll get your particular hostage that you can take upon yourself a new mitzvah. Something that you haven't done till now. We're notifying the family. So that will give hope to the family, encouragement to the family, and it's a great, beautiful mitzvah to do. Any questions, any comments? Norm, just give me a moment. Just see if I missed anything here. No, I don't see any questions so far. Norm, please share with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to really up and regularize my Torah study.
Amazing.
And I'm using the daily study app. And if I just have 10 minutes, welcome to our ADD life, civilization, society. So since I have ADD, I'm trying to, if I'm doing one thing and I take a little break, take a little time to look at daily study Torah, or a little Chumash Rashi.
Beautiful.
A friend of mine said that he has a book from Rabbi Abraham Twersky, who I had the honor of meeting and hanging with, and he says he's got a book, Chumash with Rabbi Twersky, so I'm interested to see what he says. And I love this idea of dedicating our study to the memory of somebody, especially now, or in honor of somebody who's still alive. And I want to mention this friend of ours, maybe you've been hearing about him, named Shlomi Ziv Ben Rosetta, who is being held hostage. Somebody that we know pretty well from this app. Many friends from this app have visited him. He was working security at the Nova Trance Music Festival, and he was taken hostage. He's still hostage. And I don't know if you've heard about him. And there's also his friend who made Aliyah from England, Jake Marlowe, another Jew. Jake was murdered. And I was listening to the Rabbi the other night, and it seems like this is the peak of merit to give one's life while trying to save others. Yeah. He was trying to save Jews, and he gave his life to save people's lives. So just mention those two guys.
Thank you. Yes, beautiful. So again, here's an opportunity. We've just the last several days, we've reached out to some people, 14 people that haven't put on tefillin until now. All 14 have taken upon themselves to put on tefillin. 2 of them even bought tefillin, didn't have. Others did have tefillin. So here's an opportunity that we could do something concrete, a mitzvah, ties in with today's class so beautifully that it brings new life into the world, and that's amazing. So again, whoever is interested, we don't have a link yet for this campaign to adopt a hostage. We will have. I don't know if it'll be at the end of today. In the meantime, we're doing this all kind of, it's just something that just fell upon and just happened, and we're just reaching out to people, and it's a lot of people, coming forward. It's amazing. It's beautiful. All right. So again, you can private message me right now on Messenger, or many of you have my email, rabbi@chabadzichren.com, rabbi@chabadzichren.com. You can reach me that way. Many of you have that already. And what mitzvah are you going to take upon yourself? If you don't put on tefillin, it'd be an amazing thing to put on tefillin every day. If you do that already, maybe mezuzahs in your home. Some people are putting on tzitzis to wear tzitzis. Others, in saying modani in the morning if they're not saying. Some people, many different mitzvahs that you can take upon yourself. And when you get we'll send you the picture of the person. You print it out and if you give us a video or a picture, we're sharing it with the family. Chabad in Israel is sharing it with the family there. What an amazing, beautiful thing to do. All right. Rambam coming up. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Thank you for joining. Have an amazing, great day.